Hey, welcome to X's and O's. I'm Jeff Harrison, along with
Leslie Spoor.
Leslie. I can't wait to get started today because we're going to talk about something that, you know what, it absolutely plagues me when it comes to growing my business, and that's, you know, we're always connected 24/7. I mean, I just before I went on, I thought, okay, do I have my phone turned up? But there was that urge to say, well, let me check my messages real quick just in case. And I'm like, ah. So today we're going to talk about time management.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is such a, it's one of those things. You operate your business. You have an office out of your home. Mm-hmm. We have an office. I have an office out of my home because I do a lot of the editing and whatnot. And we also have a standalone office, and that's where Amy operates out of. And I find myself working 24/7 because there's no there's no time to turn it off, right?
Right.
Because there's always like that one more thing we can do. So I've been looking forward to this since I heard about the topic about discussing time management, because there's that, you tell me, I mean, do you have that feeling of, hey, I want to grow my business, but how can I do any more than I'm physically doing right now?
Right.
That's the potato. Take it.
That's the potato. Okay, cool. Well, you know, most of us, because we start out business kind of slow, and I like to tell this story, and don't be mad at me, but I live in the Southern California. In the first 2 years, I guess, of working my company, in the summertime, because the business was slow and just getting started, I would do business from the pool. Literally, I'd be in the pool and the phone would ring and I would answer, executive. So I know that's really kind of sleazy, but I mean, probably for people who are like this deep in snow right now, that's pretty sleazy. But it's true that in the beginning, your business has days where you're really busy and days where you're not so busy. And that can lead to really poor work habits because you don't really have a set routine. You don't have any discipline. You just kind of work when you need to, and then you can do fun stuff. And, you know, a lot of people who start their own business do so because they want to get out from under the thumb of the 9 to 5. Yeah. Right? They think they can do whatever they want, whenever they want.
What was I thinking?
Yeah, 9 to 5 is a cakewalk compared to this. So, you know, we all work. There's a saying that says you can work any 16 hours of the day you want, right? And we all do that. We all do it. I mean, if you have an entrepreneurial spirit, you are excited most of the time and you want to work, but you do need to have routines and structure if you have any hope to keep up as your business grows, because that's part of what we're talking about, right? Is the scalability of your business and how we're going to grow it efficiently and still be profitable, right? So one of those is time management. Very important issue. And the first thing I want to talk about, or the thing I want to talk about mostly today, is setting a routine for when you get up and go to work. So what do you do today?
Well, typically I'm up about 4 or 4:30.
Oh, don't tell them that.
No, I mean that's what I do, right? So I get up very early. I have a routine. Probably about the first hour is really my time to kind of get my mind set. Right. So I'll get up and I do some meditation. I do my writing. I listen to and read something that's very positive for the day. Maybe it's also educational. And then I go to the gym. Then I come back, and by that time it's about I'm usually done at the gym by about 6:15. So I'm ready to hit the ground running by 6:30.
Right, and that's a perfect example of somebody who is controlling their time really well. I always have gotten up since I started this business by 5, and I'm in my office by working by 5:30 or 6. I'm not good about the meditation stuff, which you should do, by the way. I talk about that in other writings, but you need to have a routine. And it's so funny because the first 6, 7, 8 years I was in business, I got up every morning at 5 o'clock without fail, and I was at work and working hard all day long. And it wasn't until a friend of mine who also has her own business said to me, oh yeah, sometimes when the alarm goes off, I just shut it off and go back to sleep for a couple hours. And I sat there and looked at her with this look of shock and amazement because I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just such into the discipline, the routine of getting up at a certain time and going to work. So from a psychological point of view, you really do need to set a time. Doesn't have to be 4:30 in the morning, doesn't have to be 5 in the morning. It has to be a time that works for you in your life to get up and go to work. Okay? Just because you own the business doesn't mean that you can come and go as you
Right.
I mean, you can come and go as you please, but you need to have the discipline of when you're going to start working.
Because that's some sloppy routines, right?
Right.
I mean, if you're in and out inconsistent, I mean, and you have anybody working for you, I mean,
Right.
you're kind of setting the precedence.
Right, and the tone for the
Yeah.
business, right? So if you want to be professional about running your business, you need to set the time. Now, during the day, you also want to have a certain amount of time that you work every day, just like any job you would go to, and you need to make sure that it also fits with your life, because the most important thing is your family. I agree with that. Family, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how big of a company you built or how much money you made, it matters the people in your life and your family, right?
True.
So you need to make time for that, and depending on if you're married or single or married with young children or married with old children, or you're a grandparent who is responsible to take care of a child, you need to make that work with your business.
So you're talking about a balance of personal and business life.
Yes, you
Okay.
must find a balance between all these things so that you can schedule your time, and then you should have a target end of the day. Okay, so you want to have a scheduled time that you get up and get to work, and you want to have a scheduled time when you end your day. Now, both of us know that that's not always possible, but you want to shoot for that, because it's about creating the impression in your mind, the subconscious thought that this is a real job. Right? It's not a hobby. You should be focused on your business during the work day.
Take it seriously.
Take it seriously,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
So I know you do, and I do, but a lot of people don't. Work will become overcome by events. They will have something at their children's school, or something, they feel like going to the movies during the day, or they think, oh, I won't do it today, I'll do it later. And what happens is stuff starts to fall through the cracks, right?
Yeah.
You know that.
You bet.
Stuff starts to fall through the cracks. And as your business grows, more and more tasks are going to come at you. Like I said, in the beginning, you can develop bad work habits because there isn't a lot of work to do.
Right.
But you have to be conscious of the fact that there's always going to be more. If you're really going to build your business, there'll be more and more things to do, and therefore you need to have some structure.
Would that be, in the early days when you say there's, maybe we realize when you're first starting out, maybe there's not as much business happening, but would that be a good time from a time management standpoint to grow your business? Would that be a good time to say, hey, now I do have time to go to the mixers, and I do have time to go to these special events? Because for me, that's what, I got a message yesterday from Katie, or day before yesterday from Katie.
I did too.
And she went, go to this thing that was going on this morning, and I'm like, I have a 9:30 appointment on the conference call. I started out very early, like I said, very early this morning, and it's just tough to figure that out. And so in the early days, would that be a good time to really get heavily involved in those kind of things?
Yeah, I strongly recommend to everybody that I mentor and coach that you should plan your work for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I try to. I plan all my work, because most mixers and networking events are held on those days anyway. I save Monday and Fridays for discretionary time. These days I'm saving Mondays for writing, because Amy yells at me if I don't get my writing in on time. But I save Mondays for writing. But Fridays are supposed to be my day off, my fun day. It does hardly ever turn out to be a fun day.
What about Saturday and Sundays?
Well, Saturdays and Sundays are optional. They're optional work days for me.
Actually, when are we taking a Saturday or Sunday off?
Yeah, exactly. but because we work out of our house, it's easy to throw in a couple extra hours. But if you're really disciplined, you could do Friday, Saturday, Sunday and not work. But for sure, you need to be working Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. Okay, you should always plan to work those days and be out in meetings, networking, marketing, passing out business cards. Really working to build the brand of your business so people know who you are and how to find you.
Okay, so let's say, for instance, and I'll use me as an example. When you said work Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and really get out and do these other things, and the Monday and the Friday are kind of optional,
Or
and
discretionary
Saturdays,
time.
Yeah, discretionary time. I'm thinking, there's no freaking way. There's no way. Obviously, then I need to get better at managing what I'm doing. because I look at the days and like, yesterday I shut it down, probably at 6 o'clock, but then I had something we were working on with someone out of our time zone, and I was doing Skype calls till almost midnight, right? So it's like, it's really tough to do that.
Well, every business is individual,
Mm-hmm.
and so you have to look at for your business and what you're trying to accomplish. As the world becomes more and more virtual, we do work with partners in other time zones all across the world, actually. And so you do have to factor that in as part of your plan.
Okay.
Right? So if you have, like, when I was working with people on the East Coast, I needed to start early in the day because by the time I got where I was actually processing information, they'd gone home already.
Exactly.
So you have to plan for that. I'll give you a real extreme case. When I was still consulting in aerospace, I was managing a team on 3 continents, 200 people, people in England, people in India, and people in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So talk about time zones, right?
Yeah.
And to support the meetings in England, I had to be up and on the phone by 4 o'clock in the morning because that was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon their time, give or take. Don't hold me to the exact, the time, but it was about
roughly 7 or 8 hours later.
Yeah, 7 or 8 hours.
Yeah.
And then you've got India, that's their nights or your mornings, and vice versa. So, and then you got Grand Rapids in the middle. That was like a couple hours, which was a piece of cake. So, but you do have to take all that into consideration depending on the kind of business you do, because we are now using people all across the globe to help us in our business, and that is a consideration.
Yeah. So give us some action items of saying, okay, if I need to use time management, I get that. So you're making me think about some stuff that I'm doing. I'm like, okay, maybe I need to set that to somebody else, and then maybe I do need to make some of these other meetings. But what kind of things from an action item can you give us to say, you told us about the days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Right.
Monday and Friday are discretionary.
Spillover days.
Spillover days.
Excuse me.
And
my allergies are acting up.
And so,
I have to have
what
water.
kind of things can we start doing like today, Leslie? That somebody watching today says, "Wow, this all sounds great," but again, it's another one of those hocus pocus of like it works for them, but doesn't work for me. What's some of the actions we can take right now? Just give us one or two concrete.
Okay, so one thing that you could do is to identify areas in your day that are purely waste and can be eliminated, right? So I would sit down and try to track for a week, if you can do it for a week, everything you do during the day. And is it business related or is it not? And is this specific task busy work or actual productive work? And is this task furthering your goals and objectives for your business, or is it not?
Yeah.
Okay, because I can tell you that Pinterest is a time suck and a half. I love Pinterest, and if I want to go mindless for a while, I'll do Pinterest. But social media in general can be a huge time waste if you get caught up in checking your status updates all the time and doing little funny Snapchat things and checking out Instagram and all the different social media stuff that we all follow because of our families and our friends and other businesses that we're networking with. We're following all this stuff, but you cannot look at that stuff 6 hours of the day. So you could get back quite a bit of time right off the top if you evaluate what it is you're doing and how that impacts your business from furthering your goals and objectives. That's the big thing, is everything you do during the day must be helping your business grow. And if it isn't, then you either need to delegate it or get rid of it.
Okay.
One or the other.
All right.
Okay?
Well, one of the things that I'll just share, if I could share one.
Somebody's phone is ringing. It's probably mine. Go ahead.
If I could share just one thing that I've started to do even more, and that's on my emails. What I do is I put an autoresponder on there.
I know you do.
And I know she probably doesn't like it, but here's what it does is, and I'm guilty of not following through with it, but what'll happen is I'll set it and it says, "Hey, thanks for getting my email," or "Thanks for emailing me." I check my emails between in the morning and late in the afternoon. If it's an emergency, please text me, and I give them my cell phone number. Okay.
Yep.
And for me, if I were to adhere to that, I could probably pick up 2 or 3 hours to the day, because I have I have more than one email. You know, I have one for our business, one for my personal, and then another one that I have. And it's like, if I were to do that, I could probably be a lot more productive. Because I think one of those things that, and I notice, and tell me if I'm way off base, is when people email you, sometimes they use that as an urgent thing. And email should not be treated as urgent. Urgent is a phone call or a text. Email, if you email me something, it's saying, hey, I've put it in the mailbox, and when they get it to you, I'll look for a response. Now, not that slow, obviously, but unfortunately, I think a lot of us treat it as that is urgent, and it takes us away from the important.
Well, I agree with you to a certain degree, and I winced when you said it because in my particular business, I don't have that luxury. I cannot put emails off to at the end of the day. I must address them as they come in. But that's for my particular business. That's not, that's not saying that somebody else couldn't do that. And that is other experts, one of their time-saving solutions is to relegate email to just a specific time of the day, a couple times a day, so that you're not sitting there constantly going through it. Because it takes time. Yeah. So unfortunately, our society being what it is that we want instant response to things. It used to be you could leave a message on a rotary phone, right? I'm that old, yes. You could leave a message on a rotary phone and somebody would get back to you eventually. Now, I get emails that don't even have salutations on them. They're just talking to me like we're on the phone. Do you know what I mean?
Email,
it's
sure.
a conversational email. Yep. No hello, no goodbye, nothing. It's just, hey, blah, 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 blah. And you're like, okay. So, and that's the society we live in. We just now are treating email as if we're actually talking to somebody, whether they answer it right this second or they don't. And so email is, I love email, but we're going to have to come up with some rules for email. So depending on the kind of business you have, if you can postpone reviewing it and answering it for certain times of the day, great, because you really will pick up time. But if you have a service-based business, you don't always have that luxury.
I agree.
So then you have to work around, not that your business isn't service-based, but you know what I'm saying,
sure.
Right?
Yeah.
So you may have to find some other area to cut time from instead of email.
Yeah. One thing that, and I've considered this, is bringing on that assistant that all they do is they check our emails. That's their gig, is they check those emails.
That's a good idea. I should do that.
Yeah, because now even in the service industry, it might save me at least 2 hours a day that I don't have to worry about that. Right. And we do that. I'm going to say on the other side, when we're doing social media marketing for somebody and we're running their campaigns, is we kind of create this list of, hey, these are the responses that we could handle, right? Mm-hmm. If somebody says this, we have like an automated response we can put in there, somebody comments. But if it goes beyond that, then we have to give it to those people that actually work in that business, because now it's beyond our scope, right? And so we probably have the ability to filter out 90% of that. Like yesterday, Sunday, I think something came up on Sunday at one of the facilities we do some church houses of worship, and somebody was saying something about
you're video recording the sermons.
We're video recording the sermons,
you
right?
Didn't say what they do at the house of worship.
Yeah, we're doing a live stream for them, and it got to one of the comments that came back. There were a lot of great comments about that service, but there was one comment that came back that was like, okay, it was a red flag. It was not something that Amy should or could handle, so she turned it over to the director of that facility. But the point is we've taken 95% of their time that they would have been doing that off their plate, and I'm thinking, geez, why wouldn't we do the same thing with email? Because there are so many emails that are just like, it's a yes or no kind of answer.
Well, and beyond that, okay, so I offer software, right, to companies to automate their data collection. And part of that software is a scheduling and a task management features. And every time you add or modify or change or complete a task, it was sending an email. So what we ended up doing, one of my new hires was complaining about the volume of email he was getting that he didn't need to address. So what I did is I went and put new logic in there that basically said if he made the change, he didn't need to see an email for it, and just shut off the emails for that.
Wow.
But if I add a change for him, he needs to see it because he doesn't know about it.
Right.
So he still gets those. So we cut the amount of email they were getting down by probably more than 75%.
Wow.
Okay, so sometimes it's a matter of looking for ways to change the process to cut down. I mean, that's another point here, is that once you evaluate what it is you're doing, you can look for ways to improve the process of what you're doing in order to cut time out. Okay. And I know today, I don't know where we are on time, but we have a white paper. We have a white paper, Amy? Yes, we have a white paper that you can click on and download about tips on time management. And just quickly, the other two big ones that are on there is avoiding distractions, right? Because especially when you have a home-based business, there are all kinds of distractions, from the TV to the washing machine.
I mean, come on, the tennis tournament's on.
Exactly. So there's all kinds of distractions. And again, this is all about creating discipline so you can work your business efficiently and what's the word I'm looking for? Professionally.
That's what I was gonna say,
Professionally, thank you.
Yeah.
And then another one is about how to schedule your time in order to be efficient with that. Okay, a lot of people don't even think about scheduling their own time. And I can tell you from personal experience that once I started putting appointments on the calendar, and some of them are personal appointments, like I have a coaching session every week that I go to, and until I didn't think I would have time to do that, right? I started putting it on the calendar, I don't miss it ever, because it's on the calendar.
Right.
Some of this stuff is psychological about how you address and manage the business of running your business, right? And so time management is crucial to allow you to grow and to handle more tasks and to help bring awareness to what you're doing, so that all the tasks that you do are actually business building tasks.
Okay.
Right?
Yep.
That's what people sometimes lose sight of. I'm busy, busy, busy. Well, busy is probably a waste of time.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
it's one thing to be working on things that improve your profit margins, bring in cash flow, network. I mean, there's all kinds of things that you can do that are actually meeting the objectives of your business. And then there's all kinds of other stuff that we get caught up doing that's just busy work. I have a new licensee in Florida who was drowning in paper because she was doing everything manually. So that she was spending hours and hours and hours and hours a day just tracking time manually, where now she has the software, so it's all automated, so she got all those hours back, so now she can put them somewhere else.
Wow.
Right?
And she goes social media and make sure her updates are all set.
Well, social media is necessary and key. You know, we were talking about networking and whether or not, how do I fit in going to networking groups? And there are lots of different ways to network, and some of them are all electronic, and some of them are face-to-face. We're trying to decide if there's going to be forever a place for face-to-face marketing. Both you and I agree that there should be, right?
Should be. I think so. I mean, there are times, quite frankly, like I look forward to this because I'm actually interacting with another human being.
Right.
I mean, I interact with human beings all the time, but it's usually electronically. Yeah, it's usually electronically. And it's a Skype, it's a text, it's a whatever.
Right.
And so I think there is that point, because it's still a relationship you want to have.
Right. Right. So kind of to summarize, I think we're at the summary. To kind of to summarize what we're talking about here is that time management and creating discipline and routine for your business is necessary in order to help you grow your business. Because even though in the beginning you may not have enough tasks to fill a day, there'll come a time very quickly when you'll have more than enough tasks to fill that day and several more.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And so you must find a way to do the tasks that are the most important for you to do, delegate ones that have to be done but don't have to be done by you personally, and then eliminate the waste that is unnecessary entirely.
I think that'd be great. Well, this was a great session. I took some mental notes, and so that white paper, I think the link is it'll be on the post after we're done here. You can also, if you want to, Leslie, you have a lot of webinars to support this kind of topic. You actually have a time management webinar, do you not?
I have two. I have a time management goal setting webinar out there on our website, and we also have one of the components of how to start your own business with Leslie Spoor, which is on Amazon and my website. That's a 6 DVD collection of a foundation for your business, and one of those lessons is expanded version of time management and goal setting for your business.
invest in yourself. You heard Leslie say, once a week she has a coaching session. We do the same thing. We meet with our coach. We just hired a coach, 3 months ago? 3 months ago. And when we first started our business, we hired a coach. They flew out from the East Coast and spent some time with us. And then we kind of went along on our own because it kind of got us started really nicely. But we just recently hired a coach, and now we meet with them on Tuesday and Thursdays. And Tuesday is a 9 to 10 call, and then it's from 11 to 1 o'clock, and then we do a 9 to 10. Those are dedicated conversations, and then we get to contact them throughout the week. And we just decided, hey, if we can't invest in ourselves, why should anybody invest in us?
That's right. And you're the most important part of your business. You're the face of the business. You're the brains behind the business. You're the passion behind the business. But you still need somebody to support you.
Yeah.
And trust me, it is not family, it is not friends. It needs to be an objective, third-party person who has experience in what you're doing that can help you.
I think that's great. Well, Leslie, thank you again so much for doing this. Thanks for joining us. This is called X's and O's.
X's and O's.
And we meet here every week, every Wednesday at 3 o'clock, and we usually go for about 15 or 20 minutes. I invite you to comment and say, hey, this is what I'd like to hear about. Leslie's got a pretty set up as far as what she wants to talk about every week as far as topics are concerned. And you'll see that coming about. So again, that goes back to that organized and structured product. But we want you to also be involved and let us know what your thoughts are. Okay?
Or if you have a topic that you're interested in, by all means, let us know what it is.
Absolutely. If they want to find out more about you and how they can, because I know you do actually do some coaching, how would they find out about you, Leslie?
Well, you can go to my website at conciergebusinesssolutions.com, or you can email me directly at info@conciergebusinesssolutions.com, or you can message me on Facebook, or you can call me at 760.
Or you can just drive down the street and see her.
Yeah, 760-898-9604. I'm pretty much available everywhere. I've got Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn. If it's a social media account, I probably have one, so you should be able to find me okay.
Perfect. Well, Leslie, thanks again. And thanks for joining us. My name is Jeff Harrison.
Leslie Spoor.
And we're Xing and O'ing out. Okay, good job.